Welcome to our introduction to strength training. This video covers a lot of ground and will set you up to confidently begin using the complete workout schedules that you find in the playbook. Specifically, we'll be covering the benefits of strength training and what it's personally going to mean for you, categories of equipment that you find in a gym, and how to choose the right equipment for your goals, a sample training schedule so you can see a great example of how to best utilize your time and energy, my pointers for organizing your own training schedule, how the number of reps is affected by your goal, choosing the right amount of weight to lift without risking injuries that delay your progress, an overview of the basic 20-minute workout, as well as the complete 30, 60, and 90-minute workouts, both the version designed for the gym and the version you can adapt for anywhere like parks, a hotel room, or even the space that you can find at home, creating your ideal training schedule. And finally, some quick to-do items that can accelerate your results by getting you more organized and clear about how to move forward. I'm sharing the entire foundational approach that I bring into my own fitness and how I've maintained my body like this for decades. So by the end of this video, you're going to be ready to show up for your own training sessions so that you're beginning to reap all of the benefits. There are a few pages in the playbook where you're going to want to write down the notes and follow along. It starts on page 111 and it looks like this. Remember, you can pause the video as often as you need in order to be able to give yourself a moment to write down your notes. So first off, let's quickly nail down a definition of what strength training means. To us, it builds muscle using resistance like weights, bands, or even your own body weight. The great thing is you can build muscles wherever you want them. Strength training tends to be a very targeted activity. So if you want perkier or more powerful glutes, or if you want a chest or arms that get noticed, or if you simply want to develop a well-rounded body with a lean, toned look, strength training is what sends the message to your cells that it's time for things to grow. And if you're worried that you could get too big and muscly too fast, I'm giving you permission to officially release that concern. Even if you're doing complete workouts regularly and combining that with all 5 recovery components we discussed in the essentials, including eating like we teach in phase 2, nourishment navigation, you are not going to just wake up one day jacked with huge muscles. Muscle growth is quite slow, and it happens at a rate that you're able to see the change and influence the direction that it's going. I'm saying that because I want you to really give yourself permission to put 100% of your effort into strength training so you can get the benefits without worrying that you'll make some sudden, irreversible aesthetic change to your body that you're not pleased with. Go all in on this. So what are the benefits of strength training? Well, there are a lot of them, and they're available to you, regardless of your gender or age. On page 111, please put a check mark in the boxes for the benefits that you'd like to experience personally. Strength training will help you improve bone density and reduce frailty so you can avoid fractures or breaks. And this happens because weight-bearing exercises send the signal to your body to produce new bone tissue, and that prevents bone loss from happening. And strength training is great for boosting your metabolism and helping your body burn fat. The reason is that when you lift weights, your body uses a lot of energy, not just during the workout, but also afterwards as your muscles recover. This means you're burning calories even after you finish training. Over time, strength training helps you build muscle, and muscle is what we call metabolically active, which means it burns a lot more calories than fat, even when you're just sitting around or sleeping. So the more muscles you have, the more calories your body burns throughout the day. Now, to be realistic, the metabolic boost from muscle alone isn't huge. But when you combine strength training with the right diet and staying active, it does make a big difference for fat loss and keeping the weight off. That's why strength training is such a powerful tool for improving your metabolism and your overall health. It also helps you build resilience against stress. That's because strength training teaches your body how to regulate cortisol, and it boosts endorphins, which are mood-enhancing chemicals, so you feel calmer and more in control. Plus, you're more likely to feel good when you look at yourself in the mirror because you know that you're doing the things that make a difference for your physical body inside and out. And strength training reduces your risk of chronic disease, including diabetes, prediabetes, heart disease, certain cancers, even Alzheimer's. And if you're wondering how all of that is possible, it's because it improves your blood sugar control, your heart health, and also your brain function while lowering inflammation at the same time. Strength training has also been linked with lowering blood pressure, improving cholesterol, and supporting hormonal health regardless of your gender or genetics. Plus, it can decrease your fall risk by improving your balance, coordination, and joint stability. Basically, your overall control and command of your body. And as a result of all of those different improvements with your health, it ultimately helps to increase your life expectancy or longevity because you're generally so much healthier overall. Now, we want to take this a step further than you just putting a checkbox next to the things that you want. It matters for you to be actively taking ownership of these results. So at the bottom of page 111, you can see that there are some lines where you can write down about your intentions and how you see yourself benefiting.
For example, I would say I want a rockin' body that effortlessly enjoys health and functional strength. I am changing the story about what these genes can do. I keep myself safe and strong regardless of the environment I'm in or the challenges I face. I bring my best to my people by showing up strong, healthy, and clear-minded, and I show up energized for work and my loved ones. Pause the video and take whatever time you need to write your intentions in the lines.
Now, let's move on to discussing categories of equipment and their utility on page 112. Here you can see the categories of equipment listed across the top of the page. We've got body weight, resistance bands, then machines with pins or switches, cable machines, free weights, which also include dumbbells and barbells, and then either hammer strength machines or Smith machines with weight plates. To be clear, it's not necessary to use all of these types of equipment when you train. It's possible to do an entire session with only using your body weight and still receive great benefits. The reason we're showing you this is so that you can simply get a grasp of what these are so they don't feel foreign to you. And so you understand why it's not necessary to use all of the equipment in the gym and how you can gain confidence with equipment that's closer to your current comfort level and gradually work into using more complex pieces of equipment. Now, down the left side are reasons why you would use these categories of equipment. Basically, their utility to you. For example, balance, stability, and flexibility, joint safety and injury minimization, fixed range of motion, additional strength and power. Not all equipment is created equal in terms of its utility. So in these boxes, we're going to show you where to put check marks. That way you can see which types of equipment have a particular utility and why you would use it. And it's important for you to have this general understanding because it will make you more confident and accelerate your results, especially when it comes to your ability to adapt day to day. Okay, so first, body weight is great for balance, stability, and flexibility, as well as joint safety and injury minimization. So if you didn't do it yet, put 2 check marks on these boxes like you're seeing here. And next, resistance bands are great for 3 things: balance, stability, and flexibility, joint safety and injury minimization, and also additional strength and power. So you'll put 3 check marks here. Then we have machines with pins or switches. These are useful for joint safety and injury minimization, a fixed range of motion, and also additional strength and power. So you'll put 3 check marks like you see here. Next, we have cables with some kind of weight stack. Cables help you with 2 things: balance, stability, and flexibility, and additional strength and power. So you should have 2 check marks on the page like this. When you use free weights, dumbbells, and barbells, you get the same 2 things as with cables: balance and stability and flexibility, and additional strength and power. And finally, when you use hammer strength and Smith machines with weight plates, there are 3 uses: joint safety and injury minimization, fixed range of motion, and additional strength and power. So considering that, what 1 or 2 categories of equipment do you feel ready for? Pause and take a moment to identify which equipment you would like to incorporate into your training sessions during the next few weeks. Excellent. Now let's look at the sample training schedule. At the top of page 114, you'll see this. And basically, this is the weekly schedule that we tend to stick to. Of course, you can adapt it to start any day of the week, but let me talk you through what you're seeing so you understand why we do what we do. On Sunday, we might do what we consider to be the bare minimum, and that's the 20-minute workout that we'll walk you through in a few minutes. That's usually a day when DIY projects, yard work, or hikes and adventures happen. So even though we might not be in the gym, we're still staying active, moving around, and using our bodies to get things done. And if we don't have anything planned, it's great to go get into the gym when it's empty and get a strong 90-minute workout. Now, Mondays are focused on upper body muscles like arms, back, and chest. And depending on our work schedule, we'll get in a complete 60-minute workout that, again, we'll be discussing in more detail soon. Then on Tuesday, we're focused on lower body muscles like legs and glutes. Again, depending on the work schedule, We're usually spending just 60 minutes doing another complete workout because that time of week tends to be busy. Wednesday, the bare minimum again, is the 20-minute workout with dynamics and stretching. But normally, we spend an extra 10 minutes so we can do the complete 30-minute workout focused on either cardio strength or cardio power, like we'll talk about in a minute. Thursdays are back to building muscles in the upper body. This might be just a short 30-minute complete workout because Thursdays tend to be work heavy days for us. Then Friday, we have a lighter work schedule, so we can find 90 minutes to focus on lower body. And primarily, it's after our workday. Then Saturday, to complete the week, we tend to prioritize cardio strength, specifically training the heart in zone 2 with a complete 60-minute workout. And again, this is giving you an example. And of course, it's necessary for you to tailor it to your schedule because if you've got a regular 9 to 5, you may need to pick one time of day that always works for you. But if you're an entrepreneur, you may have the option to be more flexible. Regardless of the exact time of day that you train, there are 3 things that you need to understand about why this kind of schedule works. And next to these 3 stars here, you'll write down some key points to consider when you're customizing your own training schedule. Star 1, there are 4 days of strength training. You can see we're alternating upper and lower body, not consecutive days or back to back. So your own schedule should have 4 days of strength training. You can pick what those days are so that it suits you and your priorities best. Star number 2, we're allowing 48 hours for muscle recovery. That's important because it's possible to overtrain and create delays in muscle growth simply by doing too much. So make sure that you have a 48-hour gap between your upper body days and your lower body days. On our sample, you can see upper body is Mondays and Thursdays with 2 full days in between. And it doesn't matter which days of the week you do upper body. You just want to make sure that you have that 48 hours of recovery. That said, notice that we're being active daily. So even when time and energy might be hard to find, the bare minimum is the 20-minute workout. And this kind of schedule helps us avoid the kind of extreme muscle soreness or tightness that people usually complain about and use as a reason not to show up for their next training session. So at the very least, on your busiest day, you should still implement the 20-minute workout. Of course, it's great if you can find someone to be able to train with, if you can connect with others as a result of training, but don't rely on someone else to dictate your schedule or whether or not you're even going to show up for it. This is about you. And star number 3, we keep the mind and body adapting with different exercises, equipment categories, and session length, so we don't get bored. This is really important because strength training is a mental game as much as it is a physical game. So it matters to change things up and keep yourself interested and paying attention so you don't get injured or miss out on potential gains. If you don't know how to keep your mind adapting, you're good, because we're going to be discussing how to do that very soon. But first, we need to cover how to adjust your reps for your fitness goals and choose the amount of weight to lift. At the bottom of page 114, you can see how you can adjust your reps to develop muscle mass in particular ways. We recommend 8 to 10 reps. That said, when you do 4 to 6 reps with the heaviest weight you can handle, you increase muscle mass and strength. That's also referred to as hypertrophy. Although we're not going to get stuck in technical jargon, just sharing it because you may notice people using it, and that's what it means. However, when you do 8 to 10 reps with moderate weight, you balance muscle growth with endurance for a well-defined athletic look. So we'll recommend 8 to 10 reps because it gives you that well-rounded strength and a great look that's also functional and allows you to live your life with ease and flexibility. And finally, when you do 12 or more reps with lighter weight, you can prioritize muscle endurance and toning with lean and compact muscles. So now that you've got a basic understanding about what the reps are doing for you, we'll look at the top of page 115 so you're confident about choosing the right amount of weight to lift. This choice matters because it's where approximately 20 to 30% of injury prevention happens. So before I walk you through the 4-step process on page 115, let's quickly review the pain concept that we talked about during the essentials. Remember the degrees of effort and pain and how the entire goal is to avoid straining or losing control? Well, all of that is relevant when you're choosing how much weight to lift. So first, for every exercise, no matter what it is, you will always start with what we call an empty set or blank reps that don't count so your body can remember the move and work out any kinks, as well as make any adjustments and check you're properly activating those right muscles. If you're doing that right, the degree of effort and pain should be at a level 1. Next, for set number 1, you choose an amount of weight that you know for a fact that you can lift 8 to 10 times. If you're not sure, err on the side of caution and choose a slightly lighter weight. When you choose an appropriate amount of weight to do this, your degree of effort and pain should be at a level 2, where you're giving some effort, but you still got a lot more energy in the tank to keep on going. Then, for set 2, you decide to add a little weight based on your performance in set 1. The first 8 should be clean and controlled, but don't enter the 4th or 5th degree of effort and pain. In other words, you might notice your degree of effort is rising to like a 3, but you should not push yourself into the point that you're straining or losing control during your second set. For set number 3 or more, you decide to adjust your weight based on your performance in the previous set so that you can get 8 quality reps. Ideally, that may be your heaviest weight for the day, but remember that you need to stay in control for the entire lift, from the moment that you start picking the weight up until you rack the weight or put it back down. Again, stay out of the 4th or 5th degrees of effort and pain where you're losing control. Remember, we only train success. So if you do start to lose control, you should immediately rack the weight, which means you put it down and let go of it, so that you can shake it off and reset yourself. And next to these 2 stars here, I've got 2 key points you want to write down. Star number 1, never choose weight based on what other people are doing or your insecurities. No one in there is paying your bills. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're there for yourself. Keep your chin up, focused on your form and on your own set. No matter how light the weight is, there's no comparison. And star number 2 is to choose weight based on your ability today, not your previous ability. This is because every day is different, and there are more gains to be had than simply how much weight you lifted. Just because you broke a personal record by lifting heavy weights last week, that doesn't guarantee that you'll be able to lift exactly the same amount of weight today. But it also doesn't mean that you're not gaining in other ways today. See, when I was younger playing ball in college, I could easily deadlift and squat 400 pounds. But once I got into my early 30s, that kind of weight would thrash my body. And some of that was due to the fact that I didn't have access to a sports medicine clinic anymore. It wasn't so easy to just soak in those ice baths for 10 minutes. And I didn't have STEM therapy or sports medicine teammates whose job it was to actively help my body recover. And some of the reason I don't lift 400 pounds anymore is also due to the fact that my goals have changed from a focus on playing ball to a focus on being physically healthy enough that I can go and do whatever I want, whenever I want. So nowadays, I rarely deadlift or squat above 300 pounds. And most days, I lift around 250. The whole point is that I'm choosing weights that are in a range that keep me fresh, pushing my body and still able to recover rapidly. So every time I choose my weight, I'm listening to my body and I'm seeing what I can do today, right now. Not based on yesterday, I'm focused on now. And I recommend that you do the same. It's always the better choice to lift less weight with excellent form than it is to lift more weight with bad form that risk injury. And although today's gain might not be able to break your personal record, it might be about having your best form yet and feeling good when you're finished and being able to actually show up again tomorrow. I like to say that gains come in all sizes, shapes, and forms. So don't let anyone get in your head. Don't let your ego make you reckless. We always train success. And you do that by simply focusing on yourself so that you're engaging and putting the effort in properly and listening to the feedback that your body is giving you. That's the core of strength training. So now it's time to look at the actual training schedules. On page 115, you've got the 20-minute workout that you can do anywhere. On page 116 and 117, you've got the 30-minute workout. On the left is the one for anywhere. On the right is the one for the gym. On page 118 and 119, you've got the 60-minute workout. On the left is the one for anywhere, and on the right is the one for the gym. And then on page 120 and 121, you've got the 90-minute workout. Again, the left side is for anywhere, the right side is for the gym. In these pages, we've given you close to 50 variations. This gives you more workouts than days in the week. And that means that you're always able to find something that you can do for whatever situation you find yourself in. And that variety will keep your mind adapting like we talked about before. We've also carefully chosen combinations of exercises that work well together so that you can efficiently develop a balanced look in both your upper and lower body, which, trust me, looks good on everyone. In addition to that, these particular workouts will also improve your coordination, reflexes, and balance so you can respond in an instant, helping keep both yourself and people around you safer. The great thing about following these schedules is that we've removed the guesswork. Influencers are always out there popularizing certain moves on social media, but I can tell you, based on decades of experience with this, it isn't necessary to chase trends simply to get a great body. Here in the playbook, you already have access to the 30 lifts that are the foundation that I've been consistent with for years. I'm sharing with you the exercises that have given me what I have. That's why I'm confident they will help you transform your body. You just need to be consistent and keep showing up and keep implementing what we share so you can achieve your goals and have sustainable results. And by focusing on these 30 lifts, you'll have a rock solid foundation that makes it easy for you to advance in any number of directions going forward. Whether it's taking dance classes that keep developing your rhythm and coordination, or running a marathon to keep building your cardiovascular health, or going for challenging hikes like seeing the most beautiful views. Whatever your dormant dream is, these complete workouts give you the foundation that makes you ready for so many more opportunities to actually try and do things that you might have only ever admired until now. And at the bottom of page 115, you can see the 20-minute workout. This is something you can do anywhere, at home, walking around your neighborhood, in a park, or even a hotel room. And you can also adapt it to use whatever gym equipment that you have access to, like a bike or a elliptical machine or treadmill. But because it doesn't require any special equipment, even if all you have access to is a clear spot in your garage, you can still do it. The preparation stage takes about 15 minutes. The purpose of this is to begin increasing blood flow to your muscles and joints so you can train your strength without injury. Even when you do this on a day that you don't continue to strength train, it's extremely effective in helping your body recover and repair tissue. That enhances your mobility, flexibility, and range of motion. It boosts your energy and helps you rapidly overcome stress. It also decreases soreness and tightness while reducing the risk of injury. So you can see here that 1.1 is where you do low intensity warm-up. Low intensity means easy, no strain. So you might bike with zero or very low resistance, or you might lightly jog, or use an elliptical machine and a treadmill to simply walk. The whole point is that you're getting your joints lubed up and you're reminding your body what it is to move without jarring your system. You're also getting your mind to switch gears from work or family into you time. So this is when you're getting your music set up. You're starting to record your sessions on your fitness trackers. And it's also when you consciously take a break from Messenger or your email inbox so that you're fully present for you. Remember, blocking distractions is a part of how you avoid getting hurt and support your gains. This is also the time when you can review what exercises you'll be doing today. After about 5 minutes of low intensity warm-up, you'll switch into 1.2, which is dynamics for the next 10 minutes. You'll do the full sequence, choosing whatever combinations of levels and intensity you can do today. Each day really is different. You can see in my advanced dynamics demonstrations that I'm capable of some pretty explosive movements. But on the days when I've been inactive for hours at the computer and it's time to do dynamics, I'll do what might be considered the intermediate or even beginner, simply because my joints and muscles need that lower intensity in order to get warmed up. And I might progress to a couple advanced dynamics at the end, but I don't necessarily start there. You really need to listen to your body and honor what it's able to do today. If you're incredibly pressed for time, you would then move directly into the final step that you see here, stretching for 5 minutes. The purpose of this is to shut off and cool down your body so that you're activating physiological recovery processes. That matters for all of the reasons we discussed in the 5 components of recovery in the essentials. You'll find a video demonstration so you can see how to stretch effectively, as well as an audio file version that you can put on and listen to while you're on the mat. That right there is the bare minimum 20-minute workout. On days when you can devote another 10 minutes to your health and longevity, you would choose the 30-minute workouts. So please turn to page 116 and 117. The main difference between them is the equipment that you need. So on the left, you can see Anywhere version. That is extremely versatile and can be done while you're traveling or at home, assuming that you have only body weight and maybe some resistance bands. And on the right, you can see the gym version. That assumes that you have access to a variety of equipment. Regardless, there are a lot of similarities between these. The preparation for 1.1 and 1.2 is exactly the same low intensity and dynamics that we just discussed for the 20-minute workout. The only difference is that the complete workouts also include step 1.3 here, what we call light stretching, which you might do for about 20 seconds total if you notice that certain muscles would benefit from a bit of loosening up. And then you would go into 1.4, which is the protocol to develop automatic accuracy with muscle activation. That will set you up for success going forward. Then after that, you get right into the strength training. You'll spend about 10 minutes here. And as we discussed, the purpose of this is to develop lean muscle mass so you're getting all of the benefits and results that are available to you. You can see this chart has columns for 4 workouts. And at the top are the ones for upper body. And below are the ones for lower body, except for workout number 4, which is focused on cardio power, where you do 10 minutes total for zone-based interval training, specifically sprints. Each square has a description of what activity you would do. You should just pick one square and you do everything inside of it. You can see there's a primary exercise and also what we call enhancers. A primary exercise is the main one you're doing and the enhancer complements it. You do one set of the primary exercise first, and then you immediately follow it with the enhancer. Then you repeat both the primary and enhancer for set number 2. And if you have time, you do a third set of both. You'll find demonstrations of all of these primary exercises and enhancers in the strength library in alphabetical order. You can watch these demonstrations before you train or while you train, depending on your preference. So for example, you can go and see how to do push-ups and follow it with the enhancer called chest raises. The last thing you'll do during your 30-minute complete workout is stretch for 5 minutes. Again, you can use the video demonstration or the audio file in the library to guide you. And that brings us to the 60-minute workout on page 118. You can see the version that you can do anywhere. And on page 119, you can see the one that uses gym equipment. Let's focus on the gym version on page 119. Notice that the preparation steps are exactly the same for the 60-minute workout as it is for the 30-minute workout. You start with 5 minutes of very low intensity warm-up, followed by 10 minutes of increasingly intense dynamics. You finish with about 20 seconds of light stretching just to get everything loose and ready to go. And finally, you complete the protocol to develop automatic accuracy and muscle activation. Then you're ready to go into strength training, which is extended to 35 minutes so you can achieve more. Again, you can see that there are 4 columns with 4 workouts, with a focus on upper body and lower body, and also cardio power and cardio strength. Now inside each square, you have my favorite exercises for primary moves and enhancers that complement them. This is where you'll exert the majority of your effort because you're doing 3 to 4 sets. And then you'll do 2 to 3 sets of secondary lifts. For example, in workout number 1, after doing chest bench and chest raises, your secondary activities are lat pull down and then 3-way shoulder lifts. And because you have more time, you'll wrap up your strength training with the final activity that develops either your balance, your explosive power, or your endurance. In workout number 1, it's your balance and you do planks. Those final activities for balance, explosiveness, and endurance give you the kind of variety that keeps you well-rounded and accelerates your progress as a whole. If you're curious about how to do any of the activities that you're seeing here, you'll want to watch the corresponding video in the strength library about that. And when you're done with the strength training portion, you'll finish with stretching, of course. Please note that during the 60-minute workout, we're allowing 10 minutes so that you're giving more time for your body to change gears and begin the recovery process. The final workout is for 90 minutes. On page 120, you can see the Anywhere version. On page 121, you have the gym version. Again, those 15 minutes of preparation are exactly the same as we talked about before. And again, you've got 35 minutes of strength training dedicated to your upper or lower body. And again, you have primary lifts, enhancers, 2 secondary lifts, and a final activity that improves your balance, your explosiveness, or your endurance in various ways. The big difference here is that you're adding 30 minutes of cardio training immediately after your strength training. And the reason why we do this is to develop cardiovascular strength so that you're improving your VO2 max performance and overall longevity. So here, your choice is to do 30 minutes of either zone-based interval training, specifically sprint burst, or steady state training, which means consistently keeping your heart rate in zone 2. The benefits of zone 2 training alone are huge. Improved mitochondrial function, enhanced fat metabolism and blood sugar regulation, strengthening your heart, not to mention a reduction of the kind of chronic inflammation that is a root cause of various cancers and dementia. So that extra 30 minutes is absolutely worth your time and energy. And again, you'll see demonstrations of how to do these activities in the library. Just look for zone-based interval training or steady state training. When you're done with the cardio, you enjoy 10 minutes of stretching, which I promise is going to feel so good after all that powerful time and energy that you just invested in your vessel. Now that you've had an understanding of how to spend your time exercising, the final step is to create your ideal schedule for complete workouts. On page 122, you can see something that looks like this. This is where you will consider your typical weekly flow. What days are busier and need shorter workouts? Which days tend to be quieter and relaxed when you can dedicate more time to your health? What locations will you actually train on which days? For example, Sundays might be in the park. Mondays and Tuesdays could be in the gym. Wednesdays could be going around your neighborhood on a mile loop. And then Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays might be back in the gym. And of course, you can refer back to the sample training schedule on page 114 if that's helpful for you. It's important to create your ideal schedule. Even if it might not work out exactly that way every day, week, or even month, that's okay. But you need to create a standard for yourself that you're aiming at. Because even if you don't hit the bullseye right away, you know your target, right? Your ideal schedule should have 4 days of strength training, alternating upper body and lower body, allowing 48 hours for muscle recovery. Be active daily. So schedule the 20-minute workouts any days that you're very busy or need more rest. Create a good mix of 30, 60, and 90-minute training sessions. Schedule 1 to 2 training sessions that include either cardio strength or cardio power because that's so important for your body as a whole. Keep your mind adapting by cycling through workouts 1, 2, 3, and 4 because eventually you're going to do all of them. And that variety is really important. And it helps you avoid plateaus, fatigue, and boredom. Pause the video and take the time you need to be able to create your ideal training schedule here. Congratulations, you just took ownership of your ideal schedule for complete workouts. The last thing that we're going to do is look at the bottom of page 122, where there's a quick checklist of things to do. You'll need to commit to your schedule by talking to whoever needs to be considered for your block of time on your real calendar so you can train with complete workouts. That might mean that you talk with your family about having dedicated personal time, or it might mean that you talk with them about doing it together and counting it as quality time. Or you may need to block it off as time that work appointments and meetings don't get booked. Remember, you're scheduling these complete workouts for you, and as a result, your responsibilities, your clients, and your family will receive the best version of you. So whatever it is that you need to do, or whoever it is that you need to talk to, it's time to have those conversations so you can make this commitment to yourself. After you handle that, you'll put a check in the box. You'll also need to watch any demonstrations in the strength training library so you understand how to do the activities. And finally, be ready to fill out situation adjusters as needed to deal with any concerns or doubts that might be coming up for you. And you can see some more details about that on page 31 with the inspiration for situation adjusters. It's natural to have some questions at this point, but we've also given you so much that you can take action on. So even if you have some questions, we encourage you to show up for your training sessions and just do your best. And of course, we look forward to seeing you in the weekly call so we can answer your questions there. Get moving.